voice meter is acting up. Actually, I'm kind of in a low volume. That's really funny. I don't know if is the volume good. I hope so. Uh, Let me check if I can do a quick tweak here. All right, testing, testing. Okay, I think that I fixed the volume. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jesus from Jesus Gaming. We are testing out this new format between 1 to 2 hours for strictly gaming news. Hope your Tuesday has been grinding and good as it was mine. Too much work from offline work. Yeah, but I think it's normal. Since that productivity is something needed, especially in the kind of work that I am. So, thank you again last night joining me in the final stretch for the original Resident Evil walkthrough. Unfortunately, I didn't get the good ending, unfortunately, but we finally got the game beat up. We're probably gonna have a new Game Plus somewhere this year, but not so fast. Yes, me doing light troubleshooting. I'm trying to get used to have the mail streaming monitor in here and chat and everything else over there. I'm kind of an experiment because I compromised myself on playing Anime Flux for the Steam co-op next week. Yeah, I was supposed to make it a little more a bigger announcement on my blog, but I have to mention it now that I need to deal with these issues that I'm facing with Twitch. I know that it does look great, but backstage, I don't know why it's still acting up. Bitrate is still unstable, and the good thing about Mail Studio is that they're good people are having my back on this. They're finding it really strange that at network level I'm having these issues, and we have been tweaking. I think the second to last or the last update of 2024 included some findings they had in my situation, and they implemented on Mail. So yeah, I will keep that W for me. And yeah, I'm still trying to deal this out with the good people of Mail Studio. And as a double setup requires, I'm struggling with which mouse I'm using. So until I get used on and coordinating the logics of my double setup here, actually, Streamer Bot has been like a blessing for automating stuff in my end, but the voice commands are not functioning as expected. So I try to have StreamBot to have more automated controls on Mail Studio, like saying the keywords and then the switch of scene. But it is what it is. I think that I need to do some more tweaking. So I think that we should not go any further ado, and let's go dive in gaming news, as this is the purpose of today's streaming. I got to really go by the second hour. So if this doesn't last 2 hours or less, that will be fine. But I do want to talk about two things mainly. And the first one is all things that have been surrounding Nintendo. And basically, yes, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 and their latest earning announcement of their third quarter for their fiscal year 2025. All this information you're going to be looking is from my blog, jesusgg.xyz. Let's go. All right, let's talk about first the announcement for the quarter 3 2025 or the third quarter of fiscal year's results. And Nintendo recently opened its Q3 financial results for the final fiscal years ending in March 2025, revealing a significant downturn in its financial performance. The company posted an equivalent of $1.1 billion in revenue, a notable decline from the $1.7 billion from last year or a year ago in Q3 2024. This 31.4% drop in revenue was accompanied by a decrease in earnings per share from 117.45 yen to 110.40 yen. Of course, the main topic in this earning are the Nintendo Switch sales, which included a 30.6% year-over-year decline in Nintendo Switch hardware sales, with only 4.82 million units sold during the quarter. This brought the total sales for this fiscal year to 9.54 million units, significantly lower than the previous year. The company has now revised its sales forecast for the Switch from 12 million and a half to 11 million units. Yes, there had been kind of a notion that Nintendo wanted to match both the Nintendo DS and 3DS sales along with the historic PlayStation 2 sales that are historically and respectively from Sony and Nintendo. Nintendo and Sony, I said it backwards. The greatest accomplishment in hardware sale and all the gaming industry. So there's probably not too many happy faces at Nintendo because, wow, Nintendo having a single hardware for almost 8 years, basically pushing on the concept that we're incredible with the Wii U. Yeah, the Wii U has this kind of a mantra that we can discuss it the other day, what went well and what went wrong with the Wii U. But the concept of having the opportunity to continue a gameplay if you're sharing a main television and somebody wants to see a show and you've been in a long time playing video game, the opportunity to change your gameplay via the controller was the catalyst, the foundation, whatever you want to call it, about what is now known as the Nintendo Switch, released in 2017, and almost 8 years later, Nintendo wanted to have this the privilege to say that another hardware did a new record for the Nintendo Switch. And despite they didn't really land it on having the Nintendo Switch being the most gaming hardware with the high sales of all time, I think that there shouldn't be anything bad to say about the Nintendo Switch in the perspective that Nintendo carrying on with just one hardware, with just one ecosystem, something that you didn't hear before because, yeah, you could say that probably Nintendo, the first years, the NES, carried Nintendo for 3 years, then entered the Game Boy. Then in the early 90s, the Super Nintendo, the NES, or the Super Famicom. And Game Boy actually stretched it out until the late 90s. And this is not counting on the Pocket, the Game Boy Pocket and the Game Boy Color then follow up. So basically, Nintendo in most of this modern life, because another topic for another day is that Nintendo wasn't just a video game company from the get-go. It's just one of the many businesses that Nintendo dive in this almost 100-year plus story, including being the trading card game business with traditional Japanese games, taxis business, and including even a motel business. So I think it will be interesting diving into the history of Nintendo. But we are talking about that today. And to finish my point here is that Nintendo Switch carried the company for almost a decade. I think that's one of the good things, regardless if the Nintendo Switch deserves the current negativity because of its hardware, and Nintendo choosing this hardware to be the competitor of 2 generations of PlayStation and Xbox respectively, alongside PC gaming world. So yeah, I think that it should be interesting analyzing the pros and cons of the Nintendo Switch run. Now, heading back to the news, software sales also saw a decline with 123 million, with 123.98 million units sold during the 9-month period, down to 24.4% from the previous year. Despite the release of popular titles like The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of the Wisdom and Super Party Jamboree, the software overall sales were not enough to offset the decline in hardware sales. So basically, software sales could not complement the hardware sales. So Nintendo is really getting a little stressed out because they already announced the Nintendo Switch 2. They're in the expectations on going die deep by April 2nd, which honestly, I don't know that by the streaming or recording of today is February 4. I don't know why, and I don't want to understand why people got this false hope that that the date referred today. I think it was kind of a facepalm moment that the date needed a clarification, that it is a custom of Japanese to always speak on the month first and then the day. I think that the clarification was just unneeded, and I understand the hype. I understand that people are getting impatient, but why? Why? I don't get it, and I honestly don't want to get it. I don't want to understand it. Which brings us to the Nintendo Switch 2 expectations. Amid these challenges, Nintendo has announced plans to launch the Nintendo Switch 2 later this year. The new console is expected to rejuvenate the company's hardware sales and reinvigorate its market position. However, Nintendo has also flagged that Switch may not be fully compatible with the Switch 2, which could impact consumers' decision. Yes, there was an acknowledgement of Nintendo that Nintendo Switch is compatible with most Nintendo Switch 1 games, which is good news. But I guess that what they're meaning that the compatibility with Switch 1 generation might be limited. I dare to say that it has to be the first 1 to 3 years game probably are gonna have some problems. So yeah, another opportunity of Nintendo enforcing remastered versions, which actually rumor says that The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are in line for remastering Full HD with 60 frames per second, which it probably will look good. What I really want to wish is that, and I think that this is asking too much on Nintendo, is that owners that already had the game should receive it for free. I think that examples like the Mafia Collection, Mafia 1, 2, and 3 by 2K Games retiring the original versions out of the digital stores from all platforms, Xbox, PC, PlayStation, in favor to a remastered collection. That's one thing. Yeah, perfectly understandable. But at the same time, we got all the versions who were either invested, you buy it, or you just receive it as a free claimable game because either PS Plus, when it was alive, Xbox Live Go with games, etc. You receive the remaster for free, and I do really hope that Nintendo really goes on that mentality. I know it's unfortunately it's too much to ask for Nintendo. Yeah, I perfectly understand that. It's so much to ask for Nintendo. So with this, the anticipation of the Switch 2 has led a slowdown in sales of the original Switch. In my opinion, something expected, as consumer hold us on purchases in anticipation of the new console. This has resulted in Nintendo reducing its annual dividend forecast and net sales expectation for fiscal year 2. Despite these challenges, Nintendo remains optimistic about the potential of the Nintendo Switch 2 to drive future growth. I am not a business expert or like a financial expert. I'm not an accountant or anything, but I think that Nintendo kind of misjudged or underestimated the potential about people waning their interest on the Nintendo Switch original when it was about time to announce the Switch 2. So I think that maybe there was kind of a miscalculation on how you could keep selling original Switch when you are due to announce the new system that is going to be your flagship and your only hardware, unless there are surprises on the go. Probably maybe some new hardware. I think that I'm getting way ahead, but let's just say that probably Nintendo is gonna do the game plan that they did on 2017. With this, Nintendo Q3 results highlight the challenges the company faces as it transition to its next generation console. With the decline in sales is concerning, the upcoming launch of Nintendo offers a beacon of hope for the company's future. Investors and gamers alike will closely be watching how Nintendo navigates this period in history. And again, yeah, it is kind of his history. They're preparing to go ahead and go to the next level or the next thing. Interestingly enough, it was like the previous generation between PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The Nintendo went and launched the Nintendo Switch pretty much with low expectations, actually, because nobody or there wasn't a big amount of people convinced that a Tegra S1 from NVIDIA, normally built for high-end tablets, could actually make a dent in the gaming industry. At least for the first 4 to 5 years, yes, Nintendo made a big headache for both Sony and Xbox, but unfortunately, as we headed to now, this year 2025 and the year previous 2024, it was evident that Nintendo Switch was not enough for all the requirements that current games were needed, and some big examples included Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat 1, ironically, both from WB Games. And I think that Nintendo really needs to deal with this. Now, talking about Nintendo Switch 2, yes, we got the announcement almost 3 weeks ago. That's the recording of this, and Nintendo has officially unveiled obviously, as I wrote back in 3 weeks ago, Nintendo has officially unveiled its highly anticipated successor to the Nintendo Switch, set to launch in 2025. The announcement came with a first look trailer that showcased the new console designs and features. As per the first look presentation, Nintendo Switch 2 features a large display compared to the original Switch, providing an enhanced gaming experience. The Joy-Con controllers has been redesigned to attach magnetically to the console. I was going to say magically. That would be a great feature, making them more secure and easier to use. Additionally, the Joy-Con now includes the optical sensors, adding new possibilities for gameplay. One of the most exciting aspects of the Nintendo Switch 2 is its backward compatibility, as Nintendo already confirmed late last year, 2024, the console will support both Nintendo 2 exclusive games and existing Nintendo Switch game. However, it's important to note that some other games may not be fully compatible with the new system. Again, I want to raise that this probably is the original games, I think, from the first 3 years. I hope that I am wrong. So let's kind of react to the first look trailer. Oh, excuse me. Troubleshooting on the go. Yeah, I disconnected the sound from the capture card, so that is why you are not hitting anything. Okay. Yeah, we're back to action. Yeah, the magnetically Joy-Cons. There goes more space. The USB-C. The side buttons. Okay. I think that we got the first clue. Actually, let me hold my original Nintendo Switch for reference. I could be wrong. This is the side where the speakers are. Now let's go a little backwards to see if they actually no, this is the bottom of the Nintendo Switch. So according to the footage, let's go a little backwards. This is all right, this is the right side. I think that's the top side. Okay. Yeah, the super inclination, the speakers, the new Joy-Cons a little bigger. I would have preferred complete black, but that's me. That's me. Yeah, I know that Nintendo's gonna do a full presentation, so I'm trying to catch up as possible from observations. What I wanted to raise a few minutes ago is that probably we are seeing. Oh, wait. Yes, I know that this has caused a little debate on the internet, but what I wanted to say before is that probably we are going to see a little bit of a kind of a exhaust or cooling exhaust for the machine. I will go into that later because now I want to say something about that board. people have been saying that that is going to be one of the weakest point and the danger point for the Nintendo Switch 2. And the reason of that is that, of course, the original Nintendo Switch doesn't have any port for those Joy-Con. So some people have taken that Nintendo, yes, kind of redesigned the Joy-Con for preventing early drifting in the analog sticks by adding more magnetism instead of mechanical components that led to the drifting. Without going too much technical here, the drifting, of course, is because you got a little metal string that if you push up, in reality, the strings are pushing up a little lever, electronic lever that are like this small. And of course, being a thin metal string, it can lead to get bended, especially if you are those people that doesn't control your force of pushing, pulling, an analog stick. So you can early or beyond expected, you can bend those metal strings, and that is why, or the backstage of why drifting occurs. So that's one thing that Nintendo practically fixed. But in the other hand, there's another thing that Nintendo brought to a proper danger, and that port. Many people said that it can be one of the weakest point. It can be accidentally get broken, especially if you're gifting this to any of your kids or nephews, grandchildren, anyone from your family, especially their children. Probably they are the most part of the audience with the highest probability to broke this port. I will not go diving in speculating if this port is gonna broke or not. I think this is one of the things that we need to Nintendo to address this, because I know that Nintendo is preparing the presentation. We are 2 months ahead, so with this first look trailer, they're probably just documenting all the feedback that they can from the internet, the reactions, people like me doing 3 weeks late analysis and anime and anything related. So I think that I should just say that we have to give the vote of confidence on Nintendo about that little port. So you shouldn't get worried or pre-worried or worry without any needs, and there hasn't been anything reported. All I can say is that I really want Jerry Rig Everything having his hand on a Nintendo Switch 2 soon. I hope that screen is an OLED screen. Because, okay, I get it. OLED screens are expensive. They're still expensive. Even 10 years later, after the acceptance of mobile world using more OLED than LCDs, it's still expensive. I don't blame Nintendo playing careful if this screen happens to be LCD. But I guess that if $400 price tag is the norm for Nintendo, I think that an OLED screen is not too much to ask. So I will not dare to say that this is an OLED screen, because LCD can visually simulate like it is a high quality thing. I'm not saying that LCD is a bad thing, but the problem with LCD is that to make it more cheaper, instead of having the whole crystal digitizer on the screen, Nintendo can opt for the Nintendo Switch thing again, that having the not plastic. Let me take that back. Not plastic, but maybe, I don't know. I think it's not too much to ask in 2025. I was going to bring the example of how mobile phone began as a LCD, but on the top layer it was plastic, and I just remembered that this is not the case of the original Switch. So my bad for the blooper. But my point is that I think that it's not much to ask for Nintendo, especially for the 400 price tag. It's not too much to ask that this device came OLED day one, and not just a kind of a daredevil thing to bring it out on OLED in mid-life cycle. This is another thing that I want to raise an opinion. Nintendo Switch 2, would you honestly expected a caching name like this, or you would have preferred, and maybe this is kind of a general sentiment for classical gamers like me that happens to being alive or being a kid during the launch of the Super Nintendo. I think this was the perfect opportunity to call this the Super Nintendo Switch. Not just barely Nintendo Switch 2, because what? You're going to go like Samsung and Apple and Google having like the continuation, like this was a series of a movie. I think that Super Nintendo Switch was a great opportunity for a catchy name, a catchy marketing. Head, Super Nintendo Switch sounds interestingly better. And I will get to that on why I believe that Super Nintendo sounds better than just Nintendo Switch 2. Yes, of course, the new Mario Kart game, the new dog. The joypad in 2025. There you go. April to not February. I have been reading on the internet about people that were receiving thank you for your consideration about participating in the Nintendo Switch 2 experience, but unfortunately you were chosen. I think that that's a classic thing for Nintendo to do, is not leaving people with the expectation that, hey, you're going to get invited or you're going to get go assisting on this. And if you are not invited, they just could go badly in silence. And I think that's a classic thing on Nintendo. Not leaving people awaiting for an answer and awaiting that if they are going to their respective place or not. But I believe that Nintendo can't have everybody happy, in terms of you can't have the Nintendo NYC store filled with people trying to get their glimpse at the Nintendo Switch 2. And despite, I think that that's one a horrible example, because yes, the place has two floors actually, but then again, I don't think that the logistic for having too much people inside a building at the same time in each 2-hour session, I think that maybe it's not about the logistic at all. Maybe it's just that Nintendo cannot please everybody. Or maybe it's like a security thing, like a fire department cannot allow a lot of people in the same building at the same time. It doesn't matter if it's a 2-hour session, each section. So, but yeah, I think it's a classic thing for Nintendo to do, to let people know if they were chosen, and if they were not. What I do hope to is that Nintendo hasn't been a lot of arbitrary about choosing who's in and who's out. I think that this should just be a random thing to do. Random selection of people that could get in, random selection of people that couldn't get in, and not just something arbitrary. So why I wanted to raise about some exhaust and everything about that is because about what the hardware is going to be. Nintendo hasn't publicly announced the hardware. But in my last thing that I read, and I need to go in some perspective here. This is not something that I write. I'm going to get the latest article of The Verge. All right, let's go with this one. The unanswered questions about the Nintendo Switch 2. And specifically, we are going about the specs. Perhaps the most glaring omission that the Switch 2 reveal was the fact that Nintendo didn't say anything about how powerful the new console is. We can see that the console is bigger. What's the screen size? It is OLED or LCD, something that I raised early. Is the screen resolution still in HD 720p? Is 4K resolution supported? So visibly for a brief moment, the reveal showed off the Switch 2 new dock. What's the dock resolution? Is this charging shell or is it still required for TV play? Can you dock the Switch 2 in the original Switch dock, or will it support all the super portable third-party docks? The Switch also features a second USB-C port, which I got confused because the Switch 2 has the classic port in the bottom, and one of the sides has another port. And The Verge speculated it's likely there's to offer a way to connect USB-C headphones without sacrificing a charging port. But perhaps it might be in some other mysterious function. Has native Bluetooth support being improved? It is nice to connect more than two wireless controllers if a Bluetooth headset is being used. What about the user interface? Can we expect to see a home screen similar to the original Switch? What about the user interface for the eShop? Can you still post screenshots and clips directly to Facebook? Will Nintendo have the ability to post to other social media and streaming platforms? I'm going to stop right there. The problem with social media platform is not about Nintendo don't wanting people to share anymore. It was the same thing with Xbox. It was the same thing with PlayStation. It's just that social medias or social networks increase their price on their application programming interface or the APIs. And I don't want to say who is to blame, but social networks cannot expect that companies feels obligated to just pay for more expensive API access and had nothing to say about it. So that's disingenuous from all the social networks owners. So I don't blame nobody retiring capacities for sharing on social networks. I don't. So okay. These are the main questions that we got about the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, was is the noise in the street, or how I call the rumors on what are the expectations of what the hardware might be. There have been some kind of conflicting information. I'm trying to look right now for the more recent one, and of course the more recent one and a proper source of information. So I think that we can go with the Tech Radar takes. I'm not going to read all the big article because I'm getting out of time and I need to talk about the other news that I want to talk about. It's about release date speculations, sometimes in 2027. Okay, let's go with that design. No, actually, let's go with the specs speculation. As mentioned, Nintendo hasn't mentioned any official spec for the Nintendo Switch 2. Being a second generation machine, we can assume a decent uptick in raw processing power and graphic rendering, and we'd be surprised if Nintendo didn't use any NVIDIA system on chip for its processor and graphics. Rumors and reports from our siblings publication Tom's Hardware knows that the Switch 2 could run a chipset with an 8-core Cortex A78AE processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 64 gigabytes of internal eMMC storage. Now, I know that the tech-savvy people are kind of disappointed on the eMMC storage because eMMC is the oldest technology that brought us what solid-state drives are today, which, for every respect to the OGs, but another thing that it wasn't so much to ask to Nintendo is to have a proper, more updated technology on storage, especially solid state drives. Now, I'm not going to say anything about the 8 gigabyte of RAM because, of course, the Nintendo Switch 2 aims to be a hybrid of portable and be a console in the homes. Yeah, some people might bring, but that wasn't a problem for Steam with the Steam Deck. That wasn't a problem with Lenovo with the Lenovo Go, etc. We're talking about Nintendo here. So Nintendo has a proper platform, a proper SDK, which differs heavily from general PC gaming development. The same thing can be said about PlayStation and Xbox. Well, maybe not Xbox, because Xbox is kind of a product of what was Windows CE and some aspect of Windows 10 and 11, minus everything of the PC counterpart of Windows 11. There has been a plenty of speculation and rumors about Switch 2 having support to support artificial intelligence powers upscaling, potentially via NVIDIA Deep Learning Super Sample DLSS tech. Such upscaling could apply to games with handheld more or work in tandem with more power being piped to the Switch 2 when it's docked to provide upscalings on the likes of the best of 4K TV. That is why I wanted to raise about the exhaust. If you remember 2 years ago, I think it was in the 2022 or 2023 Game Development Conference, there was a big rumor that Nintendo took the opportunity on that event to quietly invite some developers and showcase actually Nintendo Switch 2 prototype running the Unreal Engine 5, the Matrix demo. Apparently, there were people also from NVIDIA that confirmed that they handed the technology for Nintendo practically, or helping them to nail that demo flawlessly without any problems, all run in the prototype. I won't be surprised on two things. I won't be surprised, first of all, that DLSS is going to be the strength of the Nintendo Switch 2, which probably brings the opportunity to game developers kind of streamline their development more parallel in development of games between platform, a little more easy. No more scandals like it was the Hogwarts Legacy and Nintendo version of the Mortal Kombat 1 game. So I think that that's one of the big positive things. I'm not saying that AI is negative in the thing that if it helps NVIDIA to have machines like the Nintendo Switch go in par with the PlayStation 4 Pro, which was always the expectation that the power of the Nintendo Switch 2 could mash up PlayStation 4 Pro. While many believe that this was another thing, not too much to ask for Nintendo to try to reach at least a pre PlayStation 5 or a pre Xbox Series X. I think that yes, in this case, it was a little big, too much to ask of Nintendo if a hybrid of a console and a portable with all Nintendo in control of the platform. Yes, I think it was a little bit too ask much Nintendo. And the other thing that surprised me in the technical standpoint is that, yes, an AI entity is gonna produce heat. And how Nintendo can handle the production of heat? Well, probably the Nintendo Switch 2 design is going to get most closely like a high-end gaming smartphone with maybe a lot of interesting things in heat pipe channeling and cooling system or physical cooling system that might include the device having kind of a design with coppers and vapor chambers producing water within the absorption of heat so it can cool down the processor, because AI takes more processing than a normal CPU, especially when you run a game for the first time. The LSS need to learn or need to have the first presentation of what is the game about and how it can be predictive on which graphical elements go here, there, and there, and there, and there. I got one theory about how Nintendo and NVIDIA could probably limit a balance between performance and the Nintendo Switch 2 doesn't become like a radioactive thing that burns out in your hands, because the LSS is probably going to heat up the machine so high with more requirements or graphical requirements, or even if there's a possibility that a gamer could choose a performance mode for each game, of course, more processing. My theory, and yes, I could be wrong about my theory, but it's still my theory. My theory is two things. My theory is that there's going to be a local DLSS, but it's going to be performing at minimum when it is on your hand. When it is docked, then the DLSS is going to press a little bit more. But there's something telling me that this is kind of a AAS or as a service. I believe that if Nintendo Switch 2 with a minimal hardware still aims to do a PlayStation 4 Pro performance leveling, of course, I think that the DLSS is going to have a counterpart that probably will force the user to be connected to the internet, and having the pieces of processes that maybe locally the Nintendo Switch 2 can do, it can be transferred up to any dedicated server that NVIDIA got. If Xbox Game Pass Cloud and forever the great late Google Stadia taught us something, gaming as a service is here to stay, and I won't be surprised if my theory happens to be right. everything from the internet can serve as an external buffering without having the machine or the local machine, Nintendo Switch 2, having to deal with the heavy work. So for me, the theory is still plausible. I know that I can be wrong, but it's still plausible in technical speaking. It won't be the first time that remote rendering is not nothing new. A little explored in the gaming world, counting that there's Boosteroid, Xbox Game Pass Cloud. There are the existence services, of course, Amazon Luna. You don't have to worry about graphic rendering in your machine, in your television, where you place those mentioned services. Personal opinion, Google Stadia's problem was that it was mismanaged. Forever the king in the tech stack is still Google Stadia after 2 years of closing. So let me know in the comments, do you agree with my theory about how DLSS is probably going to work and how probably Nintendo is going to fulfill the unofficial promise that a performance of a PlayStation Pro in your hands will be possible? I would really like to know what you think. Okay. I think I can go between 15 and 30 minutes about the second piece that I want to discuss here. And it's about Xbox. You know, I think that it will be like, we are in 2025. I think that it will be like up to 6 to 7 years ago that it will be impossible to read PlayStation and Xbox in the same news but not as enemies, as frenemies or competitors. It's basically Xbox gaming launching games for the PlayStation. And I want to discuss both announcements. The first one is here. Who would have thought that we'll be getting literally a new Horizon getting explored with Microsoft announcing Forza Horizon 5 for the PlayStation 5? And too much 5 here. High five! In a surprising move and new teaching of Never Say Never, Microsoft has announced that Forza Horizon 5, the beloved open-world racing game, is coming to PlayStation 5 this spring. Developed by Playground Games and Turn 10 Studio, with Patty Button handling the port, this marks a significant shift in Microsoft's strategy as it embraces a multi-platform approach. Forza Horizon 5 has been a flagship title for Xbox and PC since its release in 2025, offering players an expansive open-world experience set in a vibrant landscape of Mexico. With the announcement of the PlayStation 5 port, PlayStation users will finally get the experience to the thrill of the Horizon Festival. The PS5 version of Forza Horizon 5 will be a feature complete, including all the previous releases, DLC packs such as the Hot Wheels and Rally Adventure expansions. Players can look forward to the same content as the Xbox and PC version with nearly 900 cars and over 40 thematic games updates. One of the most exciting aspects of this announcement is the inclusion of cross-play functionality. That means that players on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC will be able to join the same multiplayer sections, ensuring that no one misses out the best road trips and convoys. Additionally, a new free content update called the Horizon Realms will be introduced, featuring a curated collection of community-favorite evolving worlds. The developers at Playground Games are thrilled to see the Forza Horizon 5 community grow with new players on PlayStation 5. They are eager to see the creativity and skills that new creators, builders, and racers will bring to the vibrant community. This move is expected to attract a wave of new players to the game, enriching the experience for anyone. While no specific release date has been confirmed beyond the spring 2025 window, at least at the writing of this, fans can already wishlist the game on the PlayStation stores to stay informed about updates and release time. This announcement set a precedent for more Xbox titles potentially making their way to PlayStation, making 2025 an exciting year for gamers across platforms. Now, it's important to acknowledge this is not the first time Xbox has been giving out games to other platforms besides PC. Nintendo Switch had the Ori series of games from Moon Studios, and actually its CEO mentioned that he foresees Sony going to this strategy on launching games outside PlayStation platform or ecosystem and the PC ecosystem because the gaming industry will need it. And it's just a matter of time, maybe some years, that we will finally see, finally Helldivers 2 on Xbox, a new set of games of Horizons and The Last of Us at Xbox. At least the CEO of Moon Studio believes so. And I was actually preparing myself for this stream when the second announcement went today. Today, for the recording or streaming of this, is February 4, 2025, and this is the second announcement that maybe OGs, classic players will find it a little bit more incredible that we are reliving these moments that we're hearing Xbox game landing on PlayStation. I think that 2001 it will be impossible. 2010s decade, I think it will have been impossible. At this time, I still believe that it could have been impossible, but I'm going to dive on what's Phil Spencer mentality and why it is what it is. So, the second game that it was announced, it was the Age of Mythology retool. It's heading for PlayStation 5 with Xbox Game Studio as developer and War's Edge working on the port for the PlayStation 5. Microsoft has officially announced the release of Age of Mythology retool for PlayStation 5. The game developed by War's Edge, Forgotten Empires, Telltale Media, Captures Age, and Virtuos is set to launch on March 4, 2025. This announcement comes alongside the release of the new downloadable content expansion titled Immortal Pillars. Age of Mythology retool is a remaster of the beloved 2022 game Age of Mythology and combines the best element of the original with modern real-time strategy, designs, and visual. Here are some key features. Calling upon the gods, players can choose gods from the Greek, Norse, Egyptian, and Atlantean pantheons. They can summon powerful lightning storms, earth-shattering quakes, and even the famed Nidhogg dragon. Unleash the monster. Command diverse units inspired by War's mythology, including centaurs, trolls, mummies, and more. Embark on a multiple campaign spanning 15 missions across past and mythical wars. Players can besiege the mighty walls of Troy, battle giants in the frozen wastes of Midgard, and discover the mysteries of Osiris in the shifting sands of Egypt. Experience the game solos or with friends, challenging advanced AI across countless and randomly generated maps. Age of Mythology Retool was first revealed on October 25, 2022, and launched for Xbox Series, Xbox One, and PC via Steam and Microsoft Store on September 4, 2024. The game is available via Game Pass. The decision to bring the game to PlayStation 4 marks a significant step in expanding the game's reach and allowing players across different platforms to enjoy the experience together. The game's backstory delves into a mythical age where gods, monsters, and humans collide, taking the role of a hero or even a god, securing their domain and commanding the legendary monsters while calling upon the powers of the gods to crush their enemies. Pre-orders for the PlayStation 5 versions are available now. The standard edition is priced at $29.99, while the premium edition is priced at $49.99. which of course includes a 5-day early release starting in February 27, the new exclusive God Pack Fairies, the Legacy Deities Portraits Packs, the first expansion Immortal Pillars, and the second expansion to be announced. With its rich mythological universe and enhanced gameplay, Age of Mythology Retour promised to be an epic and innovative experience, for both old and new players. Whether you're a fan of the original game or the new series, this remaster offers endless strategic battles and a fresh twist on the beloved franchise. Woo! My apologies. I'm getting thirsty. But actually, before saying about Phil Spencer, a few days ago, before this, there was the first edition of Developer Direct from Microsoft, and I think it was the last first-party event so far. So I think that there should be any surprises about these two latest announcements when you got Microsoft already helping games become a reality, and I will say why or what I meant about that. Everything announced at the Developer Direct 2024. We got Doom Dark Age, of course, when it was announced back in 2024. Phil Spencer, of course, confirmed that the game was never meant to be locked on Xbox ecosystem or PC via Xbox Microsoft Store. It was a game that deserved to be played by everyone, and I'm quoting him exactly, as the Doom The Dark Age is heading PC and PlayStation. There are some rumors that it said that might be a surprising Nintendo Switch 2 release, but I will take that with a small grain of salt. It's out of the midnight, of course. Expedition 33, and this was the big surprises of the Developer Direct this year. Is the shadow drop of the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is the remastering of the original Ninja Gaiden 2, and the Ninja Gaiden 4, which basically was something that Koei Tecmo really they have kind of under the sleeve, went in a welcome surprise. Actually, Koei Tecmo a few days later revealed that it was actually Xbox and Phil Spencer that helping them to get their ideas together, because the game wasn't quietly in development, but they were having some roadblocks, especially that they were not getting kind of a agreement on what should be the stories about, what elements should have the game, or maybe there was kind of a brainstorm of ideas, and it became so big that nobody agrees on anything. And it's incredible reading that Phil Spencer out of nowhere just said, "Hey, dude, this. But don't worry. Don't make it an Xbox exclusive." Of course, Ninja Gaiden 4 will have a Game Pass Day 1 release, but it will not be locked to Xbox or Xbox Game Pass. Of course, 90's Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is also available on PlayStation and PC. So why all this? Well, we know that Xbox is not in its happy days. So much was revealed during and I'm going back in summer 2022 when the Federal Trade Commission tried to stop Microsoft from buying Activision Blizzard, and most of the things that gamers were suspecting were revealed, that Xbox was not having happy days. Microsoft kind of gave this as a last opportunity to Xbox pull their crap together and allows them to go ahead and buy Activision Blizzard, one of the biggest gaming conglomerates of all time. And to my best knowledge, I always said that it's surprising that Microsoft make a deal with so much money in such a short term. I don't remember reading anything about an investment like that for Windows and Azure, which basically are the main businesses for Microsoft besides now gaming. And with almost $70 billion that costs having Activision Blizzard and all the umbrella of gaming studios, I don't blame the shareholders demanding Microsoft to be specifically hard with Activision Blizzard in terms that some shareholders understood that it was too much money for the single gaming company, especially Xbox not giving green lights in a constant manners, because of course Xbox has had some good days, has some bad days, but it's not that balance between the good and the bad days. So what the point is on all this is that it was revealed that Xbox was not in a good position. Activision Blizzard wasn't in a bad position, at least economically speaking, but in public relationship and in workplace speaking, many of their executives, including Bobby Kotick, the former CEO of Activision Blizzard, was kind of at the fence. And I think that they took the opportunity of somebody like Microsoft wanting to buy the company. And of course, Bobby Kotick never had to, or for my best knowledge, never had to deal or face the consequences of his decisions and his direct decisions and his indirect decisions on not directly intervening when the toxic workplace was happening at Activision Blizzard, mainly in Blizzard Entertainment. And in the later days before the announcement of the buyout of Activision Blizzard, it was revealed that Bobby Kotick did things on his own. I think it was a kind of a Reddit day. He undeservedly making an insulting call to one-eyed or assistant, which is kind of an uncalled for. Going back to the point, my apologies. It was revealed that Xbox wasn't in a good days. It was unnecessary spending to do buying Activision Blizzard, and of course, it was brought up two important things. Xbox Game Pass Cloud, and actually the cloud gaming became one of the hot topics during that time in the preliminary injunction trial, if you will. And Phil Spencer acknowledged that they purposely did improve Game Pass Cloud to be a better competitor against Amazon Luna, Boosteroid, or even Google Stadia, because they knew that actually Xbox Game Pass Cloud could have been used as a leverage from things like FTC against Microsoft. Yo, Nanny Lane, thank you so much for joining. Is this Samoa Joe or anything? Game over, Joe. Hi-Fi Joe. Okay, Joe. Yo. Thank you so much for your support. And that is why they never improved the stack. Even Google Stadia getting out of the picture, the stack was not improved after just having a server built on a rack of kind of a Xbox Series X, if you will. That is the stack behind every computing node of Xbox Game Pass Cloud. That is one thing that it was revealed. The other thing that it was revealed is that back in 2021 when Microsoft bought ZeniMax with ZeniMax, Bethesda Studio, and the umbrella of gaming studios. Basically, they just had enough about PlayStation trying to look Starfield as a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 exclusive game. So that is why they went ahead and bought Bethesda. They were just plain and simple. We were just tired of PlayStation nailing so much exclusivity, like it is a sin to have gaming publishers and development publish Xbox game, and that is why we bought Bethesda. Of course, it's not kind of a bad thing to do, but Microsoft felt that they were kind of being in an unfair position, and they actually bought Bethesda with little opposition from regulators, including the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. But what I wanted to bring about this kind of a long backstory is that Phil Spencer said one important thing about buying Bethesda, and is that Xbox will absorb Bethesda as part of Xbox Gaming Studio, as different for Activision Blizzard, which is a complete independent subsidiary. But Bethesda will also publish games elsewhere. Of course, it will be verified case by case. So last year, back in February, the announcement of games from Bethesda, including the few Bethesda games that went on sale on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, I don't know why people took it as a surprise. I think that back in 2021, Phil Spencer already gave the expectation that we could see yeah, and then Elaine, that's cheating. Generation at level 1. But anyways, we were already before told that Xbox was kind of the mentality that the games will go elsewhere, of course, which each case being verified, and the importance of the franchise if it can go outside Xbox or PC via Xbox. Yes, I get that. Maybe saying first that Starfield and Indiana Jones: The Great Circle was not part of those plans back in February, almost a year ago. And now at the end of the year and beginning of this year, saying that it won't rule out, at least in Starfield, I think I read that it won't rule out having a Starfield PlayStation 5 version, tells you that while Phil Spencer cannot backtrack, he didn't promise that everything will be Xbox exclusive since 2021. I think I have to give him that publicly. And I believe that we should brace ourselves for the future of gaming, where we can see Xbox games heading to PlayStation more regularly. Of course, Nintendo's not going to do that. I think that Nintendo rather sell their business instead of just submitting to things like that. So hold on a minute, please. My bad, Nanny Lane, but if it's not Samoa Joe, I'm kind of tired of reading Joe. Yo. But anyways, do I believe that there's a future where PlayStation handles games on Nintendo and Xbox? I do believe it. Not right now. Probably not in this decade, but 2030 is going to be an interesting decade for gaming if the whole industry gets its crap together. That is, that Xbox is gonna give in proper first party games. I think that they can live in the two worlds, like first party first and kind of a Sega-esque thing. And people are saying no, that they didn't have learned its lesson from Sega. And the problem with Sega is that Sega was ahead of their time. Microsoft and Microsoft Gaming are kind of a reactive in a mix of proactive and reactive, because by definition, Sega was reacted to by their bad decisions that led to the Dreamcast failure. And the Dreamcast failure is because they inherit the failures that they had with the Sega Saturns, and includes being ahead of the whole industry without helping the industry adapt on being ahead of the industry. In the case of Microsoft, Microsoft is reactive and proactive at the same time. They're still designing their hardware. We believe we are bound to see what's next for Xbox probably next year, if rumor says right. And they're at the same time trying to hold some revenues by saying, hey, why we don't have some games not be closed exclusively on Xbox, mainly Game Pass, and have gamers elsewhere as well, meaning Nintendo and PlayStation, playing their games and buying them directly, because what I know is not going to happen ever is a Game Pass for PlayStation 5. I don't see that happening. That's the one thing that I don't see that is happening. Probably I can be wrong, but I'm going to lean that that's not happening. Well, Muñaños, I think that I will call it for today. And for those following me and seeing this through the proper platform, please hit that follow up. Will be much appreciated if you do that. With that, at minimum, you are supporting me. For those seeing at the red platform, please hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell for everything gaming news, retro gaming, gaming info in general. My blog, JesusGG.xyz, for everything gaming